Hey, this is Sam with In-House Coaching, where we believe you can build a business that builds your marriage. And I'm out on a walk with Pat right now. A truck just passed and he's really interested in talking about that truck. But today is my 28th birthday, and I've been thinking just how these last 5 years have gone for me, and thinking about the next 5 years. And so this is a bit reflective, a bit futuristic, and I wanted to have this here so that you can be thinking about where you're at, where have you come in the last 5 years, and where do you see yourself going in the next 5. So for me, between 23 and 28, okay, let's see what's happened in my life. Graduated college. I'm about to graduate with my master's. I went from not married to married, and now we have 2 kids. Went from no house to a house, and opportunities just keep popping up. I did go from sort of skinny fat to stronger but still fat. So I'm working on that. That's a question for my 33-year-old self. How's the fitness gone so far? I've been laying the groundwork for you. I'm hoping we're looking and feeling better 5 years from now than I do now, which is still a lot better than I was at 23. So I've been thinking about these things, reflecting, because I got 2 more years until I'm 30. It doesn't really mean anything. It just means I'm 30. Nothing crazy happens, other than maybe people start treating me like I'm supposed to know something. And here, as this car passes, I'm just thinking about these next 2 years and even the next 5 years of, if all this has happened for me in the past 5, what could happen to me in these next 5? Especially as, just really coming into my own as an adult and gaining all this experience that I can put towards helping others and building a business and building a marriage, which Miranda and I have been doing for going on 5 years now. We'll celebrate our 5th this coming December of 2021. And so I encourage each of you to reflect on the good things that have happened in the past 5 years. And maybe you think, maybe there's that voice that is definitely present for me of, wow, you put so much effort, or the effort you did put in didn't seem to pay off nearly as much as you'd hoped these last few years. Like, you're not as fit as you think you should be. Well, okay. What's equally true is it took quite some time to get me to this state of unfitness, and I do well to remember that everything I'm doing now, every time I show up and work out and sweat and can barely breathe, that's a point towards a fitter me. That's me setting that groundwork. And so I'm speaking first to the people who think I haven't done as much as I would have wanted in the last year or the last 5 years. It's okay. It is what it is. And you can still gain a lot of experience from those times. If you've experienced depression and anxiety, if you've experienced grief and loss, there's still a lot of experience to be gained that will help you help others. It'll give you the momentum you need at a time in the future, or even now. You might feel it now, that it's propelling you. for those who feel like, wow, yeah, actually, these past 5 years have been just filled with blessings. Like, I couldn't even imagine how these past 5 years have turned out. I'm right there with you. I would not have thought that the past 5 years would have turned out the way they did. And in many ways, they've turned out better than I could have ever imagined. So when I think about what I want out of the next 5 years, I take it with a grain of salt, just enough to get me headed in the right direction, because we're going to pivot, and opportunities that we could never have imagined will present themselves to us, because they have. So we have no reason to suspect that they'll stop. And I think each of us have reason to believe that good things will happen. And even when there's pain, when there's present pain, or dealing with past pain, I think it's still helpful to choose to be hopeful. So, 33-year-old Sam, what do you think? Where are you at with family, with business, with your health? What things have presented themselves these next 5 years? Of course, I will have experienced them along the way, but this is a little time capsule to me. And dear viewer, let this be a time capsule to you. Just think about what the next 5 years could do for you, what you could make of yourself, and who you could discover yourself to truly be, and where you belong in these next 5 years. We're going to have lots of opportunities to grow, and a lot of it might be painful in the moment, but we can choose. We can choose to be hopeful and know that it's going to work together for something greater down the line. Yeah? So, in summary, I'm 28. That's sort of crazy. It's been a pretty relaxed day because Miranda and I, have not been getting the best sleep lately. And so, while it may not feel like an absolutely, totally special, one-of-a-kind birthday, it doesn't need to be. What's special is I've gotten to take this moment to be on a walk with my 2-year-old son and to reflect on my life and imagine what my life could be. So in the next 5 years, I would hope that Miranda and I could have 2 more kids, that the business that we're creating would be able to pay the bills for all of us, and that I'd be able to build a community of people that I can help, that we can be a support to, and that they in turn can be a support to others as they build their marriages to be examples to others, and build their businesses as well, to show that you don't have to choose one or the other, and that you can make it work. That wives, you can and should be involved with the entrepreneurial side of things, because you already are, no matter what. If one of you is entrepreneurial, then the other one is at the very least a support. And so, entrepreneurs, maybe it's wives. Let's just say husbands for this example. What kind of person do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to show up as for these next 5 years? Where were you 5 years ago? How has that changed? How much better a person do you think you could become? That you could forge yourself into being through hammering out your weaknesses and honing your strengths. these are the things I'm thinking about. And these are the things I'd encourage you to think about. Discuss it as a couple. This is something that Miranda and I have been doing. Because even though thinking 5 years ahead as a young family, or really in any stage of life, thinking 5 years ahead, that can be, I wouldn't even know where to start. But I'd encourage you to start somewhere and let your imagination just run wild. Let the first step be, what could we even imagine could happen in 5 years? Just set your compass towards the things you want, even if you don't know how to get there yet, because it's going to show up. And it's going to show up in ways so unexpected that you never could have planned for it anyways. But I'll tell you, allowing the journey to unfold instead of forcing it to unfold the way you've envisioned it is, one, a lot more enjoyable because it's less stressful, and two, it's more fulfilling because it almost always turns out to be bigger and better than you could have imagined in the first place. So take all this, mull it over, tell me what you think in the comments. This is Sam with In-House Coaching.